it's not just because of the fact that I realize God just not favors me, but me means every one of you. But check this out. Honey, I'm home. I'm in back in Bethesda. Oh, yes, I am. And as I was trying to figure out how would I present this scripture, how would I speak from the context that our brother, the Apostle Paul, did, or how would I do this? And all of a sudden, a person that lives in the District of Columbia said something stupid. And I kind of figured that I know exactly how I'm going to take this. So everything that I'm going to do from here is going to push you into understanding what an agogic moment is. Are y'all going to be with me? Okay, so now y'all know the name Rita Harding means unorthodox. Nothing normal, nothing regular. We're going to be singing and we're going to be talking to each other today. In fact, my sister in the ministry said, just be you. And then I said to Pastor Weaver, I said, okay, am I free? He said, you're free. I said, oh, in the Army, we learn bottom line up front. So you don't have to wonder where I'm going with this. If I can do one of these 5 things, I would have accomplished some of my mission. I like to say mission is able to be continued. I want to accomplish the fact that all of us leave here thinking that we will not be afraid of our agogic moments, that we look into the difference in our life that makes the Bethesda community and lives outside the walls. That those of us who have only heard of who this Jesus is would seek to follow him well enough to follow his leadership. And those of us who say we are disciples of Christ will be able to take an insightful look at our life to see how well we're doing in this discipleship. Having said that, Brother Jerry and I, we got together and we're going to be doing some real good, crazy things. And if you see me looking from this part to the back, I got so excited that the paper couldn't hold everything, so I just started writing on the inside of this. And so, that vamp that you had, that one. I will bless the Lord. Yeah, give me that. All right, y'all put your purses to the side and everything to the side, because, watch them now, but keep to the side. Okay, so now, I will bless the Lord. How does that go? I will bless the Lord at all times. He's good. Okay, I want you to sing that another time. Keep going. I will bless the Lord at all times. He's good. I want you to remember that when I start giving you these moments. Do it another time. I will bless the Lord at all times. He's good. Now do it one more time, then I got something for you. I will bless the Lord at all times. He's good. I know a place. Ain't nobody. Ain't nobody. Y'all know it? Doing what to the races? Help me. I'll take you there. Help me now. I'll take you there. Help me now. I'll take you there. Help me. I'll take you there. That means all of us are going to go there. Out of everything that you will read about me, the most important thing, it says from private to doctor. An incredible journey. God be glorified. So my question about what is your Agogic moment, that means I have to explain to you what an Agogic moment is. An Agogic moment is a moment that is so powerful that you cannot help but make an immediate decision. Let me tell you how some Agogic moments got me to right here. I just briefly mentioned well, you don't briefly mention anything on Facebook, do you? And when you have one godmother, you're doing well. But when you have two godmothers that are willing to follow you, you know you've done something. They had an Agogic moment. They said, we're going to go there. And I did not know that my other godmother was going to show up. Another Agogic moment was the man that is the pastor of this great church. I felt so pulled to what he did at the revival, and I've been watching him over the years. And Bethesda just fascinates me. It just fascinates me because of the things you have done, do, and will continue to do. We'll get to that later. And he didn't know I was afraid, but I had to tell someone who I believed in me. And I told him about my calling, but I explained it. I don't want a church. That's the easiest thing in the world. I'm a PK. So what are you going to do? And if you all know Pastor Alan Paul Weaver like I do, he's going to ask you the what, the when, the why, the where, the how. And after you get through explaining that, the how, the when, the well, tell me more. You better know what you say you know. And that's good, because it put me on point. It put me on point to not turn around no matter what happened. And no matter what happened on this journey, I was able to come back to him. No matter how anyone else judged me or anything, because I truly believe that you can also bring the word of the Lord through music. Yes. Did not our ancestors sing their way to freedom? And then on top of that, there were two military people in my life. One of them, if it was not for this lady, I'm telling you, I had gotten out of the Army and then I got back in. And I ended up in another medical battalion. I was a true Private Benjamin. I didn't do anything right. And go this way, I'm looking for that way. I'm in the wrong locker room. I'm in the standing and just one time, Sergeant Taylor, she was specialist still at that time, she said, Harding, look, just look for me when you report for duty and just follow me around. And I try to say, don't say anything. Don't do anything, just follow me, Harding. And she told, we lost contact for about 30 years. And lo and behold, about 4 years ago, I was called to help a church out. And as soon as I walked in the church, her back was to me, and I said, it's Taylor. And I'm expecting her to run to me and everything. She turns around, she says, hey, Harding. But we vowed, as those of us in the military camaraderie, once we get back in touch, we were taught never to leave someone out there on that battlefield. We vowed to never, ever separate again. And when she found out I was coming up here, well, Harding, how are you going to get around? I said, well, I might have to rent a car. Don't worry about it. I got you. And then one of the greatest inspirations in my life, with Taylor, I want you to think about, imagine going to, was it Iran? Going there, and you're in intake. That's like triage at the hospital. You're just there. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, and an attack comes in, and you're put in a boxcar. Period. And then one of the greatest inspirations in my life is my dad's namesake, his own man. It's my brother. We tried our best to keep him from going to Afghanistan. He said, no, I must go. Because if I don't go, I'll never know. Imagine sleeping, and some of you, I don't even have to tell you about it, but imagine just sleeping, sound sleep, on a mortar lands 500 feet from where you are. And his battalion is responsible for putting the tarmac down for all the planes that come into Afghanistan to this moment. So those are some of the shoulders that I rest on. And I want you all to know that keep me in prayer and keep your pastor in prayer, because I heard it through the grapevine that there is a seminary that is interested in my music ministry leadership program. Everyone who says that they're a church musician is not doing it because they love the Lord. It's pay me and I'll pay. It doesn't work that way. And my hope is if you have people who say that they can bring the word of God and that they are a minister, then let's make it so. They should be able to walk hand in hand with the pastor. They should be able to also visit the sick. They should also be able to be there in case somebody just wants to talk. Amen. And that's not necessarily the reputation that musicians have, especially in the black church today. Well, this is my story. This is my song. Praising my Savior. Ask the Savior to help you, comfort, strengthen, and keep you. He is willing to aid. What will he do? He will carry you through. One more time, let's just ask the Savior to help. Lift him up. Come on now. Lift him up. Still he speaks from eternity. Yes. What did he say? Because it's time to pray now. In Jesus' name. 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 What's the first line? In Jesus' name. What's the second line? In Jesus' name. What's the third line? In Jesus' name. What's the last line? In Jesus' name. Next to you. name, I want you to think about what it is you want for the Bethesda community. What do you have that is so special that people will want to come here, rest here, stay here, and never leave? What are you willing to give? What are you willing to do? And then in that prayer with, why do we need Jesus' name to do whatever it is we need to do? What is the problem? Why are we in such a disarray and affray? And why does it seem that some of our churches can't get it together? Brother Jerry, do you remember those words that I don't remember? You pick up where I live off, okay? Go. Why? Because of the color of the skin. Run, 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 but you sure can't hide. Eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Roll for me and I'll set you free. Grab on. Keep going, yeah. Keep going. Come on, church people, you ever seen it? That's right. We don't want to have anything to do with rules, but we expect things to go our way. Maybe that's why the church is the way it is today. Let's talk about these moments. What does HMM, MMM, MMM spell? That means I got your attention. There are 3 letters, and I'm going to put them together, and I want you to say it real fast. The letter O, the letter I, and the letter C. Say that real fast. I get it? I get it. There are 3 types of moments that you experience every day, and not necessarily in that order. The first one is the moment, because there's something that's always saying to you, making you say, And then if it's something that captures your interest, you're going to, I see, I get it. So what about this Agogic moment? Well, we already had some Agogic moments because I was testing to see where I was going to go with all these words I wrote in this. But this is what it is. Would you please do the scale from 1 to 7? All right, do it real slow. Who went there? Somebody went to 8. Who went? No, it's good. It just takes a little bit off, I have to say. Did y'all feel? Let's do it with do. All right? Don't play. Do, re, mi, fa, It came from over here. All right, everybody go. Did you feel that push between tea and dough? Okay, this is what's wrong with the world today, especially those in church. From Amos, the Message Bible. I can't stand your religious meetings. I'm fed up with your conferences and conventions. I want nothing to do with your religion projects. Your pretentious slogans and goals. I'm sick of your fundraising schemes. Your public relations and image making. I've had all I could take of your noisy ego music. When was the last time you sang to me? Come on. Maybe we in the church have forgotten who we sing to. Come on. Those of us who are in the hospitality ministry, maybe we've forgotten why we're doing this. Who we're doing it for. Now, I'm not talking about Bethesda, I'm talking about other churches. Do you realize ushers at the door are not always in an ushering mood? Do you realize that trustees are not always in a trusting attitude? Maybe we have forgotten rules. Understand something. If it were not rules, Private Harding never would have retired from the military. If it were not for rules, some of our brothers and sisters would have never gotten back here. I want you to take a look at this uniform. Thank you, sir. I want you to take a look at this uniform. Now, yes, you will see something is missing because one of my badges, I either gave it away or lost. I choose to believe I lost it. There's a certain way these have to be in order. You can't just put this any kind of way. Army Medical Department, they have to know when a person approaches you, they have to know what part of the military you're in. When someone approaches you, do they know what part of God you are? They know. I think one of these is the Good Conduct Medal, though I don't know why they gave it to me. Up here it says U.S., and I'm an officer. Here is my name, Harding. Do people know your name? Disciple of Christ? Come on. Christian? What is it about Bethesda that makes Bethesda? It is a refuge. Pool of Bethesda, place of healing. How many people have been healed or hurt at Bethesda? And in this case, it doesn't necessarily have to be this Bethesda. What are you doing to make a difference in someone's life? Why would someone come here? Why would someone stay here? Why would someone leave? How many of you know your life? Why do you do what you do? Have you learned how to do what God has given you? Because everything Bethesda needs, it's here. Yes, ma'am. Some of us just don't know it yet. How many times has the pastors, how many times have they told us this is the way to go and we don't want to do it this way? Because we have our own way of doing it. As crazy as the United States may be, there are still rules. As crazy as the church might seem to be, there are still rules. here it is. We hear from God, but we brought our pastor here to hear from God first.
Amen. That's right.
And he has the vision to make everything work.
Yes.
So people would want to stay here. So people would want to rest here. So people would never want to leave here. What do you have to make Bethesda more than what it is? What I didn't tell you about is a young lady who is here. She's 18 now. I was 18 when I first heard about Bethesda. My name is QUIDA. Her name is QUIDA. And when I look out at my niece and I see how she is taking all of this in, my mind goes to, what else can I do? Well, what are you saying? There are people in and out our generation. They call us old. Well, we call the older ones old when we were their age. But somebody took time out to teach us. Doesn't make any sense of saying what these young kids is and ain't doing if we're not teaching.
That's right.
So what does Bethesda have here? My Agogic moment was when my dad said, okay, you can get out the military if you want. But 15 years from now, you'll be in position to do something and you can't. Guess what the Agogic word for me was? Can't. Please don't tell me what I can't.
That's right. That's right.
But I think we as disciples of Christ have taken residence with the word can't
Come on.
more than can. And in the meantime, our kids are hurting. I'm not a hugger, but when a child or someone comes to me and just want like this, get over it, Hardy. You never know what that might do. How many people in Bethesda are huggers? You don't have to touch somebody to be a hugger. A person can walk in a place and say, oh, I'm sensing, I don't want to be here. What is it that we're doing that are bringing people into the way instead of chasing them away? And so that was my question. That was my question. Bethesda, you are a premier church. You have a premier leader. If you don't think yourself of as premier, then you're going to be as trashy as some of those churches out there. So what is your Agogic moment going to be? Whatever ministry you're on, what is the mission of that ministry? And you don't say mission accomplished, say mission to be continued, because that'll always give you something to look forward to. When we're marching in our platoons, in our battalions, in our companies, we're taught never to look back. You march.